Can I start by saying what an honour and a privilege it is to be here with you this evening, and joyous to follow those young people singing so fantastically. Tonight, of course, is a time to celebrate the long-standing contribution that Tamils make to both our country and our communities up and down the entire country. And I know that this has been a difficult and unprecedented time for all of us because of the constituency that I represent. So many Black, Asian and minority ethnic communities have found themselves struggling and suffering because of the pandemic. But whether it's nurses, doctors, teachers, policemen, so many of you work on the front line, keeping us safe. And there are many Tamils working also as researchers who've helped to develop the AstraZeneca vaccine. So tonight I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you for stepping up. Thank you so much for making us proud, and a happy Thai Pongal to you. I also, of course, want to take this opportunity tonight in one of my first events this year as Shadow Foreign Secretary to reaffirm Labour's commitment to speak up for human rights in Sri Lanka and for the importance of accountability and for a long-standing peace and reconciliation. The Labour Party has a long and proud tradition of calling out injustice, and we put democracy and the rule of law and human rights at the heart of everything that we do, whether it's at home and abroad. These are the fundamental tenets of our movement, and our commitment to them is absolutely steadfast. That's why we recognise the way that Sri Lanka has sought to evade accountability for so long, and we continue to call it out wherever it is. Let me be absolutely clear that it's deeply, deeply shameful that 13 years since the end of the atrocious conflict, so few people have been held accountable for their actions. And that's why in March, Labour absolutely pushed for a UN Human Rights Council, which included an international independent investigation mechanism for the referring of cases to the International Criminal Court. Labour's commitment to human rights and the rule of law is why we also pushed hard to continue for the government to put in place a Magnitsky-style sanctions on those suspected to having committed those atrocities. And it's shameful that the Americans have already done so and our own government hasn't done so. When I was Shadow Justice Secretary, I made a commitment, and it's a commitment that's very important, a commitment to put victims of crime at the heart of everything that we do. And the same applies here. So many who've experienced trauma in the Tamil conflict, which is raw 13 years later, families deserve closure, and so they deserve to see justice done. You know, I think it was back in 2009 that I was in Parliament, and I sat with Tamil brothers and sisters outside of Parliament as they sat down in the streets. And I remember in the months before that, because of the community, along with Siobhan McDonough, urging my good friend David Miliband to act, and he flew to Sri Lanka. So I bring that experience into this role as Shadow Foreign Secretary. I stand shoulder to shoulder with the community. I wish you a very good celebration, and I thank you all for what you are doing in your communities up and down the country.